Hey guys, I'm Harrison, the English Confidence Coach, and welcome to my channel. Do you feel frustrated sometimes that you don't sound completely natural, even if you speak English at a high B2, C1 level? Do you hate the sound of your accent? Don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to teach you some strategies you can use to sound more natural when you speak English, reduce your accents, and improve your accuracy in English. Are you ready? Let's do it. My first tip is learning to copy native phrases you hear in English speaking shows and films. This is one of the most powerful ways you can improve your accuracy and sound more natural when you speak English. No more sounding strange to native speakers when you are speaking English. But how, you might be asking? When we're all children, one of the ways we learned our native language is by imitating the people around us. First, we might have copied our parents or any brothers and sisters we might have had. We might have copied our favorite character in a TV show we watched growing up, or in a movie we loved. At school, we copied the way our friends speak so we can fit in. When learning to read in all of our native languages, we even imitated children's books as we read out loud to practice our reading and our pronunciation of these words. This is what you need to do in English. To become a successful and fluent user of any foreign language, you have to be open-minded and be willing to try new ways of improving your language skills. Most importantly, you have to change your thinking about how to learn a language. With language learning, it isn't all about memorizing long vocabulary lists or reviewing flashcards. You need to be flexible in how you study and improve English. And once you have this mindset, it will become easier and funner to learn English. Where can you find English phrases and sentences you can start learning and then copying? Everywhere. That too easy, you might be thinking? Everything you watched was produced by a native speaker and a real human. Because of this, even if you like watching shows about a magical world far away, world that's completely different from Earth, the people who made that show, who wrote that show, used the language they use in everyday speech. However, if you're really worried about sounding strange in English, you can just watch interviews with famous people or YouTubers. While watching them, make sure you take notes of any sentences or words you want to use in future. Like if you like the way they sound, or something that you might say in your own native language. You can use a simple piece of paper or a note-taking app on your phone. Pause whenever you see a phrase you will want to use in the future and write it down. Then add it to a specific deck within a flashcard app. Review it every few days, and then when you speak English, try and use those phrases you've learned. You'll be shocked when one day you will say something completely naturally in English without even having to think about it or try. Now, before we move on to the next tip, and if you want more tips, tricks, and advice just like this, make sure you get my free guide where I'll give you 7 tips that will help you speed up your process of learning English. Link in the comment section and description box. These tips are proven to speed up your improvement in English faster. So again, make sure you check the description box or first pinned comment to get your free guide for learning English. Now let's get back to the video. Another way you can find native phrases is to copy English native speakers themselves. But where can you find a native speaker to talk to? Well, you can use specific apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, italki, and even English-speaking groups on apps like Discord and Facebook. Simply just message a native speaker. Even if you make mistakes, keep talking to native speakers and copy how they use certain sentences and slang. The key to sounding more natural in any language, especially English, is all about copying native speakers and using their knowledge for yourself. This is what you did in your native language to sound like a native speaker, and this is what you need to do. This is what you did in your native language, and now it's time to do this for English. My next tip is using word mining and sentence mining. This is something you might have already heard of before. Now you might be thinking, sentence mining? What's that? And no, I'm not talking about mining in the ground to get a resource. Sentence mining is simply just taking words, but especially sentences, that you have found while reading or watching something in English and studying those English sentences with a flashcard app. All you need to do is write down a sentence you want to use in the future and add them into your flashcard app. That could be apps like Memorize or Anki, and then start learning them. The great thing about this method is that you not only learn the word, but you also learn the context in how it's used. When word mining, you can do the same thing. However, you shouldn't add every single word you don't know into your word mining flashcard deck, because then you would have too many words to learn. Just choose words that you want to learn or will be useful for you and describe your life. Now, the great thing about this method is that because you chose those words, you added them into your flashcard deck, you will have a strong emotional connection to them. This is a really powerful thing because then it will be easier for you to remember them. Faster, easier than if you were memorizing a long vocabulary list. However, when word mining, make sure you include an example sentence in your deck. That's because a lot of words change their meaning depending on the context or how they're being used in the sentence. For example, the word season can refer to weather or cooking depending on the context it's used. My next tip for improving your English and sounding like a native speaker is using shadowing. In fact, shadowing is one of the best techniques you can use to becoming fluent and sounding native-like in English. But you might be thinking, what is this thing called shadowing? What do you do when you shadow? Shadowing, sometimes called the echoing technique, is where you copy a speaker of the native language you want to learn so you sound more like them. This method is great for not only improving fluency, but also it greatly improves your pronunciation and even listening comprehension. As you try to listen to something being pronounced and copy what the native speaker is saying, when shadowing, all you do is try to copy what a native speaker that you want to sound like is saying in the native language as best as you can. This method also helps other parts of your English you might not have thought of, like your grammar, rhythm of your speech, and where to place correct stress in a sentence or a word. There are two different methods you can use while shadowing, depending on your situation, what you want to improve, and how much time you have. Firstly, you can listen to a piece of audio and copy what the native speaker is saying without stopping. This is great if you want to sound more natural and form sentences at the same speed of a native speaker. If you have a short amount of time for English or want to speak more fluently and naturally, then this method is great for you because fluency comes from speaking at length. If you have more time or want to improve your accent in English, then the second method is best for you. First, listen to a piece of audio or video in English and pause after each sentence and copy what the English speaker is saying. Keep repeating the sentence until you can pronounce every word correctly in succession at the proper speed and intonation as the native speaker. Then move on to the next sentence. Don't just repeat what they say. Really copy how they say it, their intonation, their body language, This will not only really improve your accent, but also make you look and feel more natural when you speak English. Are you excited to try any of these techniques taught in this video? Tell me in the comment section. And here's a question for you to answer. Which famous English speaker or YouTuber will you copy or shadow to improve your English? Tell me in the comments. I'm interested to know. Don't forget to get my free guide that will give you 7 tips, tricks, and advice for improving your English faster. At this point of the video, I've taught you a lot about improving your accents, pronunciation, finding new words. But if you want to learn some new words now, watch this video here where I will teach you 14 words to replace boring old interesting and make you sound more interesting in English. Thank you so much for watching. If you've liked this video or found any of the tips in this video useful, make sure you subscribe where you'll get even more free lessons. Smash that notification bell, hit that like button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.